Adam Taxin of High 95 Radio here on the early morning, during the early morning of Sunday, April 29th, 2012. Those of you who know me know that I definitely emphasize reading Daniel Greenfield's Sultan Kanish column, which can be found online at sultankanish.blogspot.com. I emphasize reading on a daily basis, or the 6 days a week it comes out. I know not all of you do. However, some of you who do not read it might listen to it via a YouTube segment for which there would be really no images to look at and which you can easily convert to an audio file, although simply listening on YouTube is probably fine for most of you. So this way you can easily listen to it while doing something else. This is being recorded with the full permission of the author, Daniel Greenfield, and I'm only going to do one take, so do not expect perfection. So for all you commuters, errand doers, dog walkers, meal cookers, and people working out at the gym, this is for you. The Saturday, April 28, 2012, late at night column is called The Flying Car Culture, and this is by Daniel Greenfield. Every now and then, a hobbyist inspired by splashy magazine covers featuring Art Deco cities and soaring vehicles full of the cheerful people of the future puts together a flying car. The result is noted chiefly for its novelty, and then everyone moves along because we are in a flying car culture. From the bottom up, we might long to soar above the highways, but from the top down, we are a light rail culture, a biodegradable house culture, and a guardrail culture. For the people at the top of the flying car should be able to fit in a closet, have a minimal carbon footprint, run on the tears of third world children, and not fly. It should be the sort of thing that you can leave outside a vegan tofu restaurant in Portland in order to shame working-class truck drivers. That is, if you have to have a car at all, rather than a bike and a light rail pass. The flying car belonged to an America at a crossroads, a nation tiptoeing between the adventure of innovation and the progressive order of the nanny state. Since then, the car has drive to the future that we have now. A world in which we have an expanding, poorly managed government that oversees everything, and an innovation culture chiefly confined to building a complex social environment within a data infrastructure built on Cold War communications technology, or as some still call it, the Internet. Flying cars don't have much of a place in a society with emission standards, mandatory child seats, heavily taxed gasoline, and government motor companies. They have even less of a place in one that banned the lawn dart, requires photo IDs to purchase cough syrup, and treats toothpaste as a weapon. America has gone from a nation that idealized freedom and treated the car as a vehicle of autonomy to one overrun by central planners, still dreaming of the perfect national rail system that no one will use because, unlike its graceful forebears, but like everything overseen by the humanitarian bureaucracy, it will be designed to crush the human spirit. We don't have flying cars for the same reason that we don't have any skyscrapers built in the last few decades worth mentioning, or moon colonies, monuments, frontiers, or anything that a latter-day civilization could dig up and admire. There are skyscrapers still going up in American cities. If you haven't heard of them, that's because they're self-effacing, LEED-compliant, glass angular shapes that you forget even while you're looking at them. Even their ugliness is not stark enough to commit them to memory. And of course they aren't very tall. Tallness, like flying cars and the ambition to do anything but put out press releases, is unsustainable. They do have a sense of the future to them, but an undramatic one, a future in which everything has been done and everyone sits around in glass boxes, pondering the state of their NUI and admiring the architect for putting an unnecessary asymmetrical triangle at the top of the glass box to remind us that the world dies every time we buy non-locally grown produce. There is still an ambition to make large things. If the Chrysler and Empire State Buildings don't make it to the next era, the Stone Age dwellers of the future can still marvel over the edifices of our countless government offices, temples of stone and steel filling the land, rope lines through which men trudged, in the opinion of future archaeologists, to participate in arcane rites, or perhaps lining up to be human sacrifices, and they won't be entirely wrong. We still build things, like affordable housing, government offices, and memorials to multicultural heroes. We just don't build anything that matters or that lasts. There is no room in the massive fragmented Tower of Babel for anything but personal ambition and collective ideology. Nothing is made for the ages. We're lucky if most of what we make lasts till tomorrow. The vision of bigness that we have is confined to mapping and running a large society. There is no room for individualism within that vision, no towers built to mean something, no vehicles of personal autonomy. It is all about integrating, the endless search for a solution to the puzzle of making all the individual pieces work as perfect cogs in the machine. And that's done by smoothing out the rough human edges so that they all fit together. There are few personal statements anymore, only approved expressions of social values, even if they come in a grotesque if incomprehensible form. Beauty is out, social criticism is in. Making people feel bad with an expression of personal ambition is selfish. Making them feel bad with social criticism is good. And since the only people who get it feel good about it, it's all for the greater good of selfishly root out selfishness in others. We've become a culture run by committees, and if nothing ever really gets done, if trillions of dollars are spent and vanish without a trace, that is only to be expected. The innovation that we still have is personal, individual. Apple failed as a company until it brought back the eccentric, monomaniacal vision of Steve Jobs, whose neurotic impulses turned it into the biggest company in the world. Its mobile success was driven by the individualistic tinkering of app developers, much like the Internet's explosion was made possible not by Al Gore, but by individual obsessive innovations. Those obsessions can create a programming language like Ruby or a flying car, but it's much harder to get a society to adopt the latter than the former. Innovation succeeds by outpacing committees who blink in bafflement at it or run to catch up. Had the committees understood what the Internet would become, they would have killed it back when that was still possible. But flying cars are easy to kill. In the society that the committees have created, the flying car is a non-starter. The conference attendees sitting around tables aren't plotting to kill the flying car, they're plotting to kill the car. Flying cars are dangerous. Imagine the accidents, imagine the lawsuits. An elite which panics at a child's drawing of a gun, or a new army recruit illegally drinking a beer, is in no shape to cope with a crazy world of flying cars. At least not without a prolonged debate on whether the flying car is a phallic or yonic symbol, and how it will impact minority representation in Congress, not to mention the obesity epidemic, the self-esteem of gay teenagers, and the plight of Guatemalan farmers. A flying car disrupts the larger scheme of things, which requires us to make do with less, to take the carpool lane, not to take to the sky. It distracts us from constantly repeating to ourselves that we are the problem, that the automobile is a pestilent plague, and that we are destroying the planet by not listening to our jet-setting betters' green tips. Is there any place for a flying car in a low-flow toilet culture? Yes, there is, as a reminder of what we can't have so long as the latter isn't being flushed along with the entire corrupt lunatic establishment and its single-minded grip on power. We can't have flying cars and constant media panics. We can't have flying cars and a man in the White House who is determined to re-engineer our society by raising the price of energy. We can't have flying cars and regulations on everything. We can't have flying cars and lawsuits or us. We can't have flying cars and the idea that every time we take a breath we are destroying the planet. There's a basic choice that has to be made of the kind of society we want. The FDR to Ike to JFK road we have traveled has foreclosed a great many of those options. They turn to the fantastic visions of the future into a limited one where we can innovate so long as we do it on our own computer and before the legislative window finally closes on the Internet. The science fiction vision that dominates our culture isn't that of the flying car or the spaceship, it's of the apocalypse, a secular Armageddon created by our own irresponsible use of technology. The warmists are nothing more than villagers with PhDs still chasing Frankenstein, except that we are now all Frankie, living in a world where it takes a village to raise a transgender, multiracial child and torch the reactionary monsters who still haven't had their criminal brains swapped out for progressive craniums with lower sustainable capacity and an automatic dimmer switch for Earth Day. A country of flying cars is as terrifying to such people as a plague of zombies or the end of the mainstream media. It's outside the box that is being built around us with every law, every new behavior manual, and government mandate. Flying is too much like escaping, taking to the air, out of reach of EPA SWAT teams, hectoring anchormen, bickering congressmen, and the entire last days of Rome anthill underfoot. Escape is a dangerous thing. Even the prospect of it gives people hope that there is a future outside the box, and so we may briefly be allowed to look at a flying car before we head out with our 311 toothpaste to the TSA, our health insurance bought, our earphones turned to NPR where there is a discussion on how Republican budget cuts are undermining the traditional Native American art of wood carving. So long as we don't get any ideas about flying away. The end.